Have you ever felt a relentless, almost invisible force subtly pushing you away from your greatest ambitions? Not merely the occasional brush with misfortune, nor the random stroke of ill luck, but a deep, insidious sabotage that seems to emanate from within your very being. I urge you, consider this deeply, for it is a question that probes the very core of human struggle. Do you ever sense an unseen adversary at play, whispering doubts, fostering hesitation, or luring you into paths of least resistance, even when your conscious mind yearns for progress? This is not about external obstacles alone. It is about an internal dynamic, a psychological current that seems to pull you relentlessly away from the shores of your true potential. It manifests not as a brick wall, but as a persistent, almost hypnotic drift, a slow yet unwavering diversion from your chosen course. For over a century, I, Napoleon Hill, dedicated my life to an exhaustive study of human achievement, dissecting the precise thought patterns, the indomitable habits, and the unwavering philosophies of the world's most accomplished individuals. I delved into the minds of titans of industry, philanthropists, inventors, and thinkers, seeking the immutable laws that govern success. My relentless inquiry spanned decades, involving meticulous interviews and profound observations, all aimed at distilling the very essence of how individuals elevate themselves from obscurity to prominence, from aspiration to realization. I sought to codify the principles that, when understood and applied, could virtually guarantee extraordinary results for anyone who dared to commit to them. This journey of discovery was rigorous, demanding, and ultimately immensely enlightening. Yet, in that profound pursuit, amidst the gleaming blueprints of success, I stumbled upon something far more crucial, and undoubtedly more perilous to the average person: the undeniable, meticulous blueprint for failure itself. This was not merely the absence of success, but an active, cunning design, a systemic method by which the vast majority of individuals are held captive in lives of mediocrity and unfulfilled potential. I discovered a sinister dialogue, a series of interviews with the very personification of this destructive force, revealing its methods, its tools, and its ultimate objective. A manuscript containing these revelations proved so profoundly unsettling, so starkly revealing of the inner workings of human self-sabotage and the forces that encourage it, that it was deliberately suppressed, hidden from the world for decades. Its truths were deemed too raw, too confronting, perhaps too powerful for a public not yet ready to face the stark reality of their own internal battles. Until now. This discourse, therefore, is not simply about transient motivation, nor is it about fleeting bursts of inspiration that quickly fade. Understand that distinction. This is about meticulously identifying the silent saboteur dwelling within your own consciousness, that insidious voice or pattern of thought that undermines your resolve and derails your best intentions. It is about thoroughly understanding its deceptive tactics, its subtle manipulations, its uncanny ability to exploit your fears and capitalize on your indecision. This understanding is not a luxury. It is a critical necessity for anyone who genuinely seeks mastery over their own destiny. It is the key to unlocking and ultimately claiming the profound freedom you were undeniably destined for. A freedom from mental slavery, from the chains of circumstance, and from the self-imposed limitations that have held you back. This freedom, once grasped, transforms aspiration into tangible reality. Are you truly prepared, with an open mind and a determined spirit, to perceive these invisible chains that bind so many, to comprehend the nature of the entity that seeks to keep you entrapped in its psychological web? This requires a brutal honesty with oneself, a willingness to look beyond comfortable illusions and confront the uncomfortable truths of our own behavior and thought processes. It demands more than just casual interest. It calls for a deep introspective gaze into the mechanisms that shape human fate. We have spoken of invisible chains, of a saboteur within. Now let us dissect its primary mechanism, the very foundation of its pervasive influence, the phenomenon I term drifting. Most individuals, when confronted with their lack of significant progress, dismiss it as mere procrastination or a deficiency in willpower. They believe it is simply a personal failing, a character flaw to be overcome with sheer effort. But I tell you, this understanding is a dangerous oversimplification, a convenient untruth that allows the true architect of mediocrity to operate unseen, unchallenged. Drifting is not merely laziness. It is a highly sophisticated psychological program, an insidious algorithm designed with exquisite precision to keep you comfortable, entertained, and perpetually consuming, thereby ensuring you never initiate the definite, purposeful action required for true achievement. Consider your daily existence. Do you not find yourself caught in a seemingly endless current of minor distractions, of ceaseless activity that yields no substantial progress? The modern world, with its relentless digital currents, has become the perfect laboratory for this drift. It is a tapestry woven with threads of endless scrolling, the fleeting allure of instant gratification, and the seductive illusion of busyness. You check a notification, respond to a minor alert, consume a snippet of entertainment, then another and another. Each small engagement provides a fleeting sense of completion, a tiny dopamine hit that masquerades as productivity, yet fundamentally prevents the sustained, deep work necessary for monumental tasks. You feel occupied, you feel engaged, you might even feel exhausted by the sheer volume of information you process. But are you truly moving forward in a direction of your own deliberate choosing? Or are you simply reacting, passively allowing the external currents to dictate your mental and temporal expenditure? Is this truly the deliberate life you envision, or simply a series of reactions to programmed stimuli? This digital drift is not accidental. It is a meticulously engineered environment, designed to capture and hold your attention, to foster a state of continuous, yet ultimately unproductive, engagement. The subtle genius of this mechanism lies in its ability to convince you that you are active, that you are participating, even when you are merely a spectator in your own life's unfolding drama. It creates a profound psychological trap where the very act of consuming vast amounts of information or reacting to external stimuli substitutes for the creative output, the strategic planning, and the disciplined execution that define real progress. Think of it. The devil of mediocrity does not need to overtly fight you, to launch a direct assault on your ambitions. That would be too conspicuous, too easily identified, and it would surely trigger your conscious resistance. No, its strategy is far more elegant, far more insidious, and infinitely more effective. It merely needs to distract you indefinitely. It needs to keep your mind occupied with the trivial, your hands busy with the ephemeral, and your spirit placated by the superficial. By keeping you perpetually engaged with what does not truly matter, it prevents you from ever focusing on what truly does. The relentless pursuit of instant gratification further fuels this drift, creating an almost irresistible gravitational pull towards the immediate and away from the significant. Why engage in the arduous, often uncomfortable process of building a skill, mastering a craft, or pursuing a long-term goal that demands sustained effort and delayed rewards when immediate pleasure, however fleeting, is but a click or a swipe away? The human mind, ever seeking the path of least resistance, will naturally gravitate towards the easy reward, the quick dopamine release. This constant conditioning reshapes your neural pathways, making sustained focus, deep contemplation, and the crucial practice of delayed gratification increasingly challenging. It is a subtle erosion of mental fortitude, a gradual weakening of the muscle of determination. You find yourself trapped in a pervasive cycle. The clear intention to act, followed inevitably by the powerful lure of distraction, the momentary satisfaction derived from that distraction, and then the quiet, insidious regret, only to repeat the pattern day after day. This cycle is the very essence of the drift algorithm in action, optimized with chilling efficiency to prevent any meaningful escape. The illusion of busyness serves as its perfect, almost impenetrable disguise. Many individuals sincerely believe that if they are constantly occupied, constantly responding to emails, constantly engaging with social media, constantly doing something, they must inherently be making progress. Yet, I must impress upon you this fundamental distinction. Busyness without definite purpose is merely glorified distraction. It is the frenetic energy of the hamster on the wheel, expending immense vital force yet remaining precisely in the same place. This illusion is particularly potent because it allows individuals to feel virtuous, to feel productive, to even feel important, even as their most significant aspirations and their definite chief aims languish in neglect. It provides a socially acceptable alibi, a convenient excuse for avoiding the truly challenging, the truly uncomfortable, and the truly transformative work that defines a life of profound purpose and leaves a lasting legacy. It permits a superficial engagement with the world, a shallow interaction with reality, while safeguarding the core of your immense potential from ever being fully actualized, from ever reaching its magnificent zenith. This, then, is the fundamental truth about drifting. It is not a passive state of idleness, but an active, pervasive psychological conditioning, a continuous, subtle process of gentle misdirection that steers you relentlessly away from your definite chief aim. It thrives on your comfort, feeds voraciously on your fear of the unknown and the effort required, and flourishes in the fertile, untended ground of unexamined habits and thought patterns. It ensures that the vast majority remain precisely where they are, perpetually on the verge of greatness, yet never quite arriving, never truly breaking free. To outwit this devil, this insidious force, you must first recognize the drift for what it truly is. A masterfully crafted, relentless program designed with one singular objective: to keep you from yourself, from your true power, and from your ultimate success. We have spoken of the deceptive mechanism of individual drift, how it ensnares you in a cycle of subtle distraction and deferred action. Yet consider this. What if this drift is not merely an isolated personal failing? What if it is actively orchestrated by forces far greater than your immediate habits? An invisible, pervasive influence humming beneath the surface of everyday life. This brings us to what I term the hypnotic rhythm trap, the societal orchestration that subtly yet powerfully lulls millions into conformity, discouraging the very independent and purposeful thought essential for true achievement. Imagine a subtle, low-frequency hum, ever present, conditioning your thoughts and actions without conscious awareness. This is the background music of mediocrity, composed by a symphony of societal pressures, media narratives defining your reality, peer expectations demanding conformity, and a relentless tide of consumerism dictating your desires. These are not accidental occurrences. They are deeply ingrained patterns shaping the collective consciousness, influencing what you believe is possible, what you deem desirable, and even your self-perception. How often do you find your aspirations subtly reshaped, your fulfillment linked to external markers or fleeting trends presented as the epitome of contentment? This constant external programming establishes a rhythm, a pulse to which millions march, often unaware they are not setting their own pace. Consider the pervasive influence of media. Every headline, every trending story, every meticulously crafted advertisement contributes to a narrative, a collective understanding of the world. This narrative, often driven by interests far removed from your personal growth, subtly redefines success and happiness, molding aspirations not towards your definite chief aim, but towards externally validated status or transient pleasures. This constant external conditioning creates a powerful hypnotic effect, ensuring you remain engaged with what is presented rather than what is genuinely chosen. Then there is the formidable force of peer pressure, a powerful current pulling you towards the comfort of the crowd. To deviate, to pursue a truly unique path, often means facing skepticism, judgment, or even ostracism. The fear of standing alone, of being perceived as different, can be a potent deterrent, causing individuals to suppress their most audacious ideas, their most profound aspirations, simply to maintain a superficial harmony. This societal expectation to conform, to blend seamlessly, stifles the radical independent thought that precedes all genuine innovation and personal breakthrough. Does not this inclination towards the familiar, the accepted, serve as a potent ally to the force that seeks to keep you in stasis? Consumerism, too, plays a crucial role in this hypnotic orchestration. It is a system expertly designed to manufacture discontent, to perpetually remind you of what you lack, and to present consumption as the ultimate solution to every perceived void. Your energy, your focus, your creative problem-solving capabilities are subtly diverted from building an extraordinary life based on inner values, towards the acquisition of external goods and experiences. This endless pursuit, this chase after manufactured desire, becomes a rhythmic cycle consuming vital energy, time, and attention that could otherwise be directed towards your definite chief aim. It is a powerful, almost inescapable current that promises fulfillment through external means, yet rarely delivers, leaving you perpetually yearning and thus perpetually engaged in a cycle of acquisition. This hypnotic rhythm, therefore, is society's most sophisticated trap. It is not an overt command, but a subtle, ceaseless influence shaping your internal landscape, dictating the very cadence of your thoughts and desires. It aims to keep you from the deep, introspective work required to identify your true purpose, and then to prevent the bold, independent action needed to pursue it. It's the constant background noise preventing you from hearing your own inner compass, the pervasive drone making it difficult to compose your own unique melody. The devil's most effective tool, as I have always contended, is to get men to drift, and this societal hypnotic rhythm is the grand conductor of that very drift, guiding the masses gently, subtly, and almost imperceptibly towards the comfortable shores of mediocrity. How, then, does one tune out this omnipresent noise and begin to articulate their own singular frequency, their unique contribution to the grand symphony of existence? This question becomes paramount for anyone who truly seeks to outwit the forces of stagnation. We have meticulously explored the insidious grip of the hypnotic rhythm trap, how it orchestrates a symphony of societal pressures to lull you into conformity, stifling independent thought and definite action. This pervasive influence, this background hum of mediocrity, sets the stage for one of the devil's most potent weapons, the tyranny of undecidedness. Most people mistakenly view indecision as a passive state, a mere absence of choice, a temporary pause before action. But I tell you, with the full weight of my lifelong study, that indecision is not neutral. It is an active, insidious choice for stagnation. It is a form of mental paralysis, a deliberate suspension of will that effectively prevents any forward momentum. Consider the very nature of progress. Does it not demand a clear declaration, a definitive movement from one state to another? Every invention, every empire, every personal triumph began with a decisive thought, a firm commitment to a specific path. Where, then, does indecision fit into this equation? It fits perfectly into the devil's strategy. It thrives in the gray areas, in the murky waters of uncertainty, where action is indefinitely suspended. Every single delayed decision is not a mere postponement. It is a profound victory for the saboteur within you, a quiet triumph for the forces that seek to keep you shackled to the ordinary. It ensures that your potential remains precisely that, unrealized potential, forever oscillating between what could be and what never will be. Think for a moment on the cost of this inaction. Every moment you spend caught in the labyrinth of indecision, weighing options endlessly, second-guessing your instincts, is a moment irrevocably lost. It is a lost opportunity not only for progress but for learning. Even a wrong decision, when made swiftly and definitively, provides invaluable feedback. It clarifies your thinking, reveals unforeseen obstacles, and offers pathways for correction. But indecision, offers nothing but the perpetuation of uncertainty. It leaves you stranded, observing the world pass by, while your own ship remains anchored, rusting in the harbor of unfulfilled aspirations. What might you have accomplished? What might you have learned had you simply chosen a course, any course, and begun the journey? Does this not constitute a significant drain on your most precious, non-renewable resource, time itself? Furthermore, chronic indecision relentlessly erodes your self-confidence, gnawing away at the very belief in your ability to act effectively. Each deferred choice, each hesitant step, subtly communicates to your subconscious that you are incapable of directing your own destiny, that you lack the fortitude to make consequential judgments. Over time, this internal dialogue becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You begin to mistrust your instincts, to doubt your judgment, and to shy away from any situation that demands a firm stance. This erosion of confidence is a gradual, almost imperceptible process, yet its cumulative effect is devastating, leaving you feeling less capable, less powerful, and ultimately, less likely to attempt anything truly significant. Is this not precisely the outcome desired by the orchestrator of your mediocrity? Indecision also creates an accumulating burden of unfinished business, a mental weight that drags you down. Each unmade choice adds to a growing reservoir of unresolved issues, creating a pervasive sense of overwhelm and anxiety. Your mind becomes cluttered, your energy fragmented, as you constantly revisit these unresolved dilemmas without ever bringing them to a conclusion. This mental clutter directly hinders your capacity for clear thought, for innovative problem solving, and for the sustained focus required to achieve a definite chief aim. It is a self-imposed prison of the mind, constructed brick by brick from every decision you refuse to make. How much creative energy, how much vital force is currently being consumed by the mere act of not deciding? This tyranny of undecidedness is, therefore, a direct pathway back into the drift we discussed earlier. It reinforces the hypnotic rhythm of passivity, providing a seemingly legitimate reason to remain in a state of suspended animation. The devil does not need you to actively abandon your goals. It merely needs you to endlessly contemplate them, to perpetually weigh the pros and cons, to meticulously analyze every conceivable outcome until the moment for action has long passed. It preys on your desire for perfection, convincing you that a decision must be absolutely flawless before it can be made. But life, my friend, is not a perfectly calculated equation. It is a series of dynamic interactions that demand responsiveness, adaptability, and above all, the courage to commit. The root of this pervasive indecision often lies in fear. Fear of making the wrong choice, fear of the unknown consequences, fear of criticism, fear of failure, and perhaps most profoundly, fear of the responsibility that accompanies definitive action. This fear, left unchecked, becomes a paralyzing agent, an opaque shroud that obscures clarity and freezes the will. It is a fertile feeding ground for the saboteur, a power source from which it draws its strength. The devil understands that if it can keep you afraid of choosing, it can keep you from ever truly living. I implore you, reflect deeply on your own life. Where has indecision held you captive? What opportunities have slipped through your grasp while you agonized over a choice? What dreams remain dormant, awaiting a decision you have yet to make? Understand that the act of deciding, even if later adjusted, creates momentum, clarifies thought, and forces a direct engagement with reality. It is the first step out of the gray into the clear light of definite purpose. Therefore, resolve this very moment to cultivate the habit of swift and firm decision. For your destiny is not found in the options you consider, but in the choices you unequivocally make. We have meticulously uncovered the pervasive influence of the hypnotic rhythm trap and grappled with the debilitating grasp of the tyranny of undecidedness. Now let us confront the very lifeblood that sustains these insidious forces, the most potent weapon in the devil's arsenal: fear. Most individuals perceive fear as a natural, albeit unpleasant, human emotion, a reactive response to perceived danger. They strive to avoid it, to suppress it, to escape its discomfort. But I must impress upon you a more profound and far more alarming truth. Fear is not merely an emotion to be endured. It is a powerful energy source, a potent fuel that the devil within us actively feeds upon, transforming your anxieties into the very chains that bind you. Consider the various guises of fear, each a specific nutrient for this internal saboteur. There is the paralyzing fear of poverty, a constant gnawing anxiety about financial insecurity that often prevents the very risks and investments necessary for true prosperity. How many brilliant ideas have been stillborn? How many entrepreneurial ventures left untried simply because the specter of financial loss loomed too large? This fear keeps millions trapped in circumstances they despise, performing work that offers no joy simply for the illusion of security, sacrificing their potential for a perceived safety that is often more fragile than they imagine. Does this not constitute a profound waste of human spirit and ingenuity? Then, there is the crippling fear of criticism, a pervasive apprehension concerning the opinions and judgments of others. This fear transforms the world into a stage where every action is weighed against the potential for disapproval. It compels individuals to conform, to shy away from radical thinking, to dilute their unique contributions, all in a desperate bid for acceptance. How many profound truths remain unspoken? How many innovative paths untrodden because the fear of being misunderstood, ridiculed, or ostracized proved too great? This fear ensures that the majority remain silent, blend into the background, and never truly express the vibrant individuality that could transform their world. Is this not a tragic squandering of personal conviction and authentic expression? Do not overlook the haunting fear of ill health, a constant worry about physical decline and suffering. This fear, while seemingly pragmatic, can become an obsession, leading to an overcautious approach to life, a reluctance to embrace experiences that might carry perceived risks, however minor. It diverts mental energy towards apprehension, rather than towards vibrant living and the full expression of one's physical capabilities. Similarly, the subtle yet pervasive fear of the loss of love, of rejection or abandonment, often manifests as a desperate need for approval, a willingness to compromise one's values or desires to maintain a connection. This fear stifles authenticity in relationships, creating a veneer of agreeableness that masks true feelings, leading to unfulfilling connections built on apprehension rather than genuine mutual respect. And what of the existential fears? The fear of old age, with its perceived decline and irrelevance, and ultimately, the fear of death itself. These deeper anxieties, often unspoken and unacknowledged, can cast a long shadow over one's entire existence, leading to a life lived cautiously, hesitantly, constantly attempting to mitigate an inevitable future. This preoccupation with what is to come, rather than a full embrace of the present moment and its infinite possibilities, is a prime energy source for the forces of stagnation. These specific fears, each a distinct flavor of apprehension, collectively form a banquet upon which the devil feeds, strengthening its hold and reinforcing its agenda of keeping you bound to mediocrity. The insidious genius of fear lies in its ability to distort perception, to magnify potential negative outcomes, while diminishing the possibilities of success. It paints vivid, terrifying mental images of what might go wrong, effectively paralyzing the will and preventing decisive action. When you are consumed by fear, your rational mind is often overridden by primal instincts, leading to a state of mental fog where clear judgment becomes impossible. This state of paralysis is precisely what the devil desires. It does not need you to fail spectacularly. It merely needs you to remain motionless, suspended in a state of apprehensive indecision, never daring to initiate the action that could lead to your liberation. This understanding represents a critical shift in perspective. Instead of viewing fear as an external enemy to be avoided, consider it an internal diagnostic tool, a powerful indicator of where your subconscious energy is being misdirected. Each time you feel the grip of fear, ask yourself, what specific fear is this? What is it trying to tell me about my underlying beliefs? And most importantly, what action am I unconsciously empowering by allowing this fear to dictate my choices? By dissecting the nature of your fears, by identifying their specific triggers and their desired outcomes, you begin the process of reclaiming your power. You transform fear from a paralyzing adversary into a signal, a prompt for introspection and strategic counteraction. To truly outwit the devil, you must comprehend that courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the resolute decision to act in spite of it. It is the willingness to step forward into the unknown, armed with your definite chief aim, even as your heart pounds and your mind races with doubt. Every act of defiance against fear weakens its hold, starves the saboteur, and channels that previously misdirected energy into the pursuit of your aspirations. The devil thrives on your avoidance of fear. It withers and recedes in the face of your unwavering courage. Your fears, once recognized and understood, become not obstacles, but rather the very proving ground for your inner strength, the crucible in which your will is forged. To conquer fear is to starve the devil's greatest energy source, liberating a vast reservoir of power for the realization of your dreams.